Hello and welcome to Warcraft Survival. If you're a history enthusiast, a survival fanatic, or someone who believes the best lessons are forged under pressure, you've just stumbled upon a piece of battlefield wisdom that has been almost entirely lost to time. Imagine, for a moment, standing in a trench as the wind howls across the frozen wasteland, temperatures plunging so low that metal bites into your flesh and every breath feels like shards of ice. You don't have modern thermal gear, insulated sleeping bags, or heated shelters. All you have is a coarse wool blanket and a mind sharpened by necessity. For soldiers on the front lines of both world wars, mastering the humble wool blanket was a matter of life and death, and the method they developed is as brilliant as it is simple. If you're ready to discover this forgotten survival technique, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to see it, leave a comment below, and subscribe to Warzone Survival. Your support keeps these lessons alive. And now let's dive straight into the knowledge that saved lives on the coldest battlefields in history. To appreciate the trick, we first need to understand the tool itself. Wool has been a soldier's ally for millennia. From Roman legionnaires braving European winters in heavy cloaks called siom, to the damp, mud-soaked trenches of World War I. Its natural properties made it an unmatched insulator. Wool keeps warmth even when wet, it resists fire in a world of explosive chaos, and its dense fibres form a sturdy barrier against wind. In the industrial-scale horrors of the world wars, soldiers relied on wool not as a luxury, but as a lifeline. The blanket wasn't just fabric. It was a centuries-old accumulation of survival wisdom, compressed into a simple square of material. Yet, for all its utility, wool could be deadly if misused. The most common mistake then, as it is now, is to wrap yourself tightly in a blanket. Soldiers who tried to mummy-wrap themselves often learned the hard way that this actually accelerated hypothermia. Tight wrapping compresses the wool, squeezing out the air pockets that trap heat, while also trapping moisture from sweat or damp clothing against the skin. The solution, as veterans discovered through harsh experience, was not to smother themselves, but to treat the blanket as the heart of a carefully orchestrated survival system. This system was built around a single principle that remains true today: insulation through managed airspace. Your body produces heat, but it is the air trapped and held by the blanket that turns that heat into a protective microclimate. Creating this life-saving environment required three key elements, all executed in clever, field-expedient ways. First, soldiers fought conductive heat loss to the frozen ground by creating a makeshift barrier beneath them. Pine boughs, dry leaves, straw, or even spare clothing could serve as insulation, forming dead airspace between the body and the ice-cold earth. Next came the wool blanket itself. The correct method was counterintuitive. Lay it flat, lie on it, and drape the side over your body loosely, allowing a slight loft to remain. This tiny air pocket was the difference between cold and survival. Ends were tucked lightly under the feet, never tightly pressed against the body. In extreme conditions, a second layer could be added for both warmth and protection. The most ingenious innovation, however, was the outer layer. Soldiers learned that adding a rudimentary vapor barrier, whether a canvas poncho, oilcloth, or even newspaper, over the wool dramatically increased effectiveness. This layer blocked wind and forced condensation to form outside the blanket rather than inside, keeping the inner wool dry. Diaries from soldiers on the Eastern Front recount waking to frost on the outer layer while remaining warm and functional inside. In essence, they had created a primitive bivy sack decades before its invention. The brilliance of this field technique lies in its timelessness. Physics does not change, and neither does the human body's response to cold. Whether you are facing a winter storm, a power outage, or a backcountry survival scenario, the principles these soldiers discovered still apply. Begin with a high wool content blanket, at least 80% for maximum performance. Always start by insulating yourself from the ground. Then adopt the loose roll and tuck method to create a pocket of warm air around your torso. Finish with a modern vapor barrier, a tarp, trash bag, or lightweight bivvy to protect against wind and moisture. After a few minutes, you should feel a distinct warmth radiating around your core. The same principle soldiers relied on to endure freezing nights. This knowledge didn't vanish with the end of the wars. Modern sleep systems, bivy sacks, and even emergency space blankets operate on the same principles of layered insulation and moisture management. What you are practicing today when you apply this technique is not just survival. It is the continuation of a tradition forged under fire. Understanding these principles transforms survival from a reliance on gear to mastery of the environment. Soldiers survived the worst conditions, not because they had better tools, but because they understood how to manipulate what they had to create life-saving microclimates. So, next time you select a wool blanket or plan a winter expedition, remember this. You are holding centuries of battlefield experience in your hands. By mastering the art of airspace, insulation, and moisture control, you are practicing the forgotten field blanket trick, a skill that saved lives when nothing else could. If this exploration of battlefield ingenuity and practical survival resonated with you, help us keep these skills alive. Subscribe to Warcraft Survival for more deep dives into lost techniques, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and comment below with the ways you plan to apply this knowledge. Remember, real survival isn't just about equipment. It's about understanding the principles that govern life in extreme conditions. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and honor the lessons of the past.